Hi, everybody. My name's Daryl,
And I'm Nicole.
and this is our A-Liner podcast. So a while ago, I put out a question about twin beds because it's something me and Nicole really wanted at one point. Well, we still would want
We still really want
them. And I was wondering, number one, how many folks,
also.
have twin beds? How many folks have converted their existing A-Liner to twin beds? And if A-Liner still sold twin beds, would you be interested in them? But there was a couple of folks that said that they did modifications. And so you were one of the folks that you said that you had converted your LXE. And so one of the things that we're doing on our podcast now is any, people that make interesting modifications to their A-Liner, we kind of want to highlight, what those modifications are. And then if the persons are willing.
And we also want to see how easy it is for people to do it because we're kind of jealous. we wish we were really handy and could also.
I'm pretty handy nowadays.
You guys are pretty handy. I've seen some of those posts. You guys are all right.
I'm getting better.
He's getting better.
It's my retirement job. So I've turned into a retirement handy person. It's amazing what you can do when you aren't working all the time.
That's
exactly.
So anyway, so you had put a post about, what you had done to your LXE. And so, you were gracious enough to volunteer or agree to be interviewed by us crazy. So,
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how long you've had your A-Liner LXE.
We picked it up at the end of March, so we haven't even had it a year yet.
Okay.
Now, did you get that new or did you buy it used from someone?
We bought it new.
Okay. It was a prior year's model.
So is that 2000
on the lot?
Mm-hmm.
So it was 2021 or 2022?
22.
Yeah.
22. Okay, so that's the same model. Well, not the same model, but we have a classic 2022 as well.
So is this your first A-Liner or have you had an A-Liner before?
This is our first A-Liner. We graduated to the A-Liner from a teardrop camper built by American Teardrop up in Auburn, California.
Okay.
And I'll give you the 30-second arc of our trailer acquisition. We started camping when we moved out here to Colorado in 2020.
Nice.
We were tent camping.
Okay.
And this is black bear country, and so Denise was a little worried about camping in bear country in a tent, and
I never slept.
Oh no.
So to reassure her, I did some research. I said, honey, look at this. Last year in all of North America, there were only 11 fatal bear attacks. And you said,
exactly.
That's right. So we got this teardrop, which is kind of like an armored tent, with the clam shell in the back for the galley. And we were really excited about that. That could go we could take that thing almost anywhere. The problem was what?
Well, two things. We have two dogs that we post about all the time, and they're mid-sized. So we had 95 pounds worth of dog combined, and they take up a lot of room. They sleep like this.
So, and you guys know when your dog goes to sleep, there's the devil to pay to try to move it. So
and the other issue for me was having to step outside in the dark by myself to go potty at night. Didn't love it. And then I had a couple of animal encounters that made me decide, oh no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I need to go inside.
Yeah, you guys. So we're down. Was it
Texas?
Oh, it was Arrowhead State Park.
Yeah,
outside of Wichita Falls, Texas. We were trying to get out of the Colorado winter for a couple of weeks, and it had been a rough couple of weeks. The weather hadn't been as good as we liked, but we're in this state park, and a lot of coyotes. We heard them in the early evening. We heard them at night. A lot of other activity going on, and so Denise steps out. What, about midnight? 11 p.m.
It's about 10 o'clock for my last potty before going to sleep. And I had a flashlight and I set it down, so because there were other campers, but it's dark. No one can see me. But in case I need the light, I have it. And I'm taking care of business in the dark. And I hear a rustling. And I think, oh, I hope those coyotes haven't come too close. So I pick up the flashlight and shine it. And about 6 or 8 feet in front of me, I see this little black skunk tail.
Oh, no.
Like, oh, I would rather face a pack of coyotes than a skunk because this isn't going to end well.
I want you guys to imagine something now. And this teardrop had a hatch or door, I don't know, maybe 3.5 feet tall and about this way.
At most.
You should have. She launched herself like a missile through this door
and slammed it.
Slammed it, and I think the words were, "We're getting a different camper."
But I didn't get sprayed, so there's that. We were able to sell the teardrop.
There was probably some sort of extra word in between there.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
Yes.
We don't have a beeper.
Yeah.
But really, the Aliner we got for, as Denise talked about the reasons. One, give a little more room so that we don't need to share a bed with the dogs. And Daryl, I sent you a photo that illustrates how that didn't exactly work out so well. Yeah. But the indoor potty was a big selling point. And then we had spent some money to extend our garage up here in Colorado. We're at 8,600 feet, so winters are long, winters are cold. We didn't want to store the teardrop outside, so we extended the garage 12 feet so we get the teardrop in. But it's only got a 7-foot high main garage door, and so I told Denise, we'll get any camper you want as long as we can fit it in the garage. It's got to fit in the garage.
Yeah.
So the Aliner does a nice, it fits that build nicely, it folds down nicely, and we can store it inside. So
that's the main reason we have our Aliner, is because it needs to fit in the garage.
Well, we live in one of those.
We have an HOA that won't let you park anything outside, so we need to get it into the garage or pay $150 a month storage fee.
At least.
Yeah. So that was one of our main reasons for looking at the Aliner.
So what was the emphasis? Was it mostly the when you decided to get the LXE with the potty? Was there? Does Aliner make another one with a cassette toilet? Is that right? Like was the Expedition, would that not fit in the in your garage?
It actually looked great. We went inside one, but and we would have loved having even a little more space and more storage. It had more storage, but the weight on it exceeded. At the time, we were going to still pull with our Jeep Wrangler, so it had to be under that 3,500 pound plus fit in the garage, and so this particular model did both of those.
Still did both, yeah. You subsequently upgraded from the Wrangler to something else for towing?
We did end up we still have the Jeep, but we also ended up getting a Kia Telluride.
Oh, those are nice.
So we'll be able to do either one.
We like the Jeep. We do a lot of camping in Forest Service campgrounds, not like a state park with hookups. And we like to do that because we often we like to hike, and as you probably know, there's some pretty gnarly roads getting up to some trailheads in the national forests or the national wilderness areas. Well, that's not true. You can't park there, but so we have 2 tow vehicles really. One to get us we need to go place a little gnarly, but then the Telluride is nice because it has 50% more storage space behind the second seat than the Jeep does. And one thing we learned in going from a teardrop to the Aliner is there's stuff you got to have.
There's more gear.
We have a box now with electrical cables and
water
hookups, surge protectors and extension cords, and then a water container with hoses and faucets, and you guys know we got our Aliners about the same time, so we were in sort of Amazon acquisition mode together there.
Oh, we love Amazon.
Yeah. I buy a lot on Amazon.
So yeah, like
so about how often do you guys go camping? Do you guys go like once a month, or do you go more often than that?
It's been about once a month this summer that we would go for a week. You know, in Colorado, the campgrounds are and it's probably this way in other places too, but they're in such demand that you have to book 6 months in advance.
Wow.
So the moment we would identify something, we would watch for a 6 month mark. He would get online and book something, and so he just did that for the entire summer.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah, you got to get way out front of it. Even in the Forest Service campgrounds without hookups, you got to get on those about 6 months in advance. So
or you don't get in.
Yeah, so I tell Denise in January, hey, let's go to this place in July, and I'll get online now and get the reservation, because that's kind of what it.
So what do you do during the winter then? Are you just kind of off camping for a little while, or do you guys sometimes make a trip somewhere else other than Texas?
Yeah, we're gonna try and take it down off the mountain here a few times in the winter. If we just go down toward Pueblo, an hour away, and about I don't know, a couple thousand feet down the mountain, it's about 15 degrees warmer, 20 degrees warmer. So.
And there's a nice state park there. We've just spent one night in it, but we'll probably extend our camping season a little bit by just going to Pueblo. It's not as beautiful, but it works pretty well.
Okay. So let's talk about your actual conversion that you did. Are you generally handy in other areas, or was this your very first time modifying something?
Oh, I wouldn't say I'm terribly handy. There are some things I can work with wood pretty well. I can figure out, like you all did, how to do things through some YouTube videos. There are guys and gals who follow your page, Daryl and Nicole, who are way handier than I. I see these posts about, I put in this double lithium battery thing with this cutoff switch. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I got nothing. But some fundamental things, we before we did the bed, we took the microwave out and put in a shelf, another shelf. So we have 2 shelves where the microwave was for pots and pans and cutting boards and things like that. We put a shelf in the little cabinet below the sink on the LXE.
Oh, let me show that. Let me show that up on the screen here.
Well, while you're looking for that, I'll just mention we made the decision early on. We were not going to cook in our Aliner. We don't want the food smells inside when we're in bear country, and almost all of our camping is in bear country. And so we just took the microwave out, put a shelf in there, and
then we bought some little plastic cabinets with doors that stack. And so that's all the kitchen stuff. So I set up a kitchen outside with the non-smelly part of cooking. The food doesn't stay out there overnight, but the other stuff does, because it's just dishes and things like that.
So we love our microwave. That's the only thing we cook inside with, though. But we do use the microwave almost every single trip.
We knew that we would rarely ever have any power hookups, so we assumed we would never get to use it anyway. So it made some nice storage for us.
Yeah, if you're not planning to have power, then I guess that makes a lot of sense to get rid of, because that is a pretty big thing. It takes away your storage. So I think Carl on the screen has your cabinet up.
The cabinet kind of like underneath your water heater kind of controls, stuff like that, and your water pump controls.
Yeah, so we put 2 shelves in there, put basically a floor, if you will, in that little cubby for the bottom shelf, and then put a second shelf halfway up that opening there. And we some condiments in there, some cooking, some coffee.
Looks really nice.
It just made it a lot more. We could get a lot more organization into the space if we just, with the shelves, we didn't have tall things we needed in there. So now it just works much better.
Yeah.
And if we needed to make coffee inside in the morning, we could do that because I'll boil water in there. I just don't want to cook a full meal inside.
Yeah, but Daryl plugs in his coffee maker.
Yeah.
We're lucky because we have a car with an inverter, so we plug our power into the car and run it. That's how we get power, because we don't usually go to an electrical site, but we do plug into the car.
That's great.
Yeah. On the teardrop, we had a inverter we thought would be pretty cool and useful. It was 1,000-watt inverter, they tell us. And we paid extra for that 1,000-watt inverter. Well, we learned pretty quickly is
it ran nothing.
It runs almost nothing.
1,000 watts is not a lot, Yeah,
I mean, I learned after the fact that a lot of little appliances, even like a little electric coffee pot, will draw more than 1,000 watts as you start it up. And that would cause the inverter to kind of trip off, and so. I guess we should have got a 2,000-watt inverter.
Or at least something that can kind of do that peak power at the start. So
So on the twin beds, did you look at any of the models that had a twin bed, like a used Ranger?
Well, I think the only option for them with the potty
would be,
because they wanted the potty, so the only option would have been that Expedition, I think.
The Evolution.
With the Expedition or the Evolution. The Expedition, I think, had a potty, and also the Expedition is, I think, the only one that had the potty and it had twin beds at one point.
So when you bought your
we didn't know.
Yeah, there was even an option.
Hashtag impulsive. That's kind of what
that's good.
Did you decide right away to turn it into twin beds, or did you try it out with the regular bed that came with it first?
We had seen some posts online of other people who had done it. We joined groups before we ever even.
We're not really into physical closeness, you guys. So, twin beds was just sort of sort of natural, for us. So
we already were thinking about it before we went, but we thought, you know what, we'll try it with the couch bed thing. And then I was like, I'm never gonna unmake the bed and remake it every day. No way. So we already had the idea before we picked it up, and we spent a few nights in it on the way home in that original configuration. And I could barely get out of the bed over him. And also some people had talked about how, the part of the couch, the seat, you pull it out to make the bed. They had talked about how those would break. Because the wood was very thin, the plywood. And so I was nervous about putting extra weight on it to get over. Thankfully we did not break it, but we came right home and did it.
Yeah, I mean, we could have put some 3/4 inch or 1/2 inch plywood down there to maintain that original configuration. But at my age, man, I'm going to the bathroom like 4 times a night, and then she's got to crawl over me, to go if she needs to go. It just didn't work. And you really, when that bed was deployed, you lost access to that nice drawer. Really, the only
only storage
we had. So Denise suggested pretty quickly, hey, why don't we take that queen size bed that runs perpendicular to the sides of the Aliner and just put in a couple of twin beds that run parallel. And have a nice kind of walkway in between. We can get access to that drawer. And a lot of folks also post about when that bed is deployed in the original configuration, it's hard for the air conditioner to get cool air at the right place. And so this kind of solves that problem for us too. And like I said, we thought we'd get the dogs to sleep on the floor, but as I shared a couple of photos of that has not happened. So
do they still try to jump up on the twins, or they?
Oh, they do.
Oh, they I sleep with the larger one, but we've come to an uneasy piece about how we can fit. Fine.
Yeah. Jimmy, our larger one, he's about 50 pounds. Denise will get him to put his head at her feet, kind of along the side of the Aliner, and
I sleep at an angle, and it works. He won't fit on the floor. He sleeps on his side with his long legs out, where's he going to go?
Yeah.
You get the little one, Ed, or does the little one find?
I get the littler one. I get the 40-pounder Cassie, and I will have her start on the floor between the beds. But by about 1 or 2 in the morning, I'll wake up and she'll be up there on her back. So
I guess the dog thing really you didn't fix that, but the bathroom thing you did. So that's good.
We did fix that. And it is really nice to not have to step outside.
Yeah.
To not feel like at 6 p.m. I can't take another sip of anything for fear of having to.
Oh no, I meant having to get somebody.
Oh, that too.
Get over the top of somebody else to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But speaking of the potty, I've seen lots of comments where people say, "Oh, that's gross. I would never. We have it. We would never use it." I'm like, really? That's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love it. To each their own.
Yeah. Now I will say, not to get too off color here, but we use it as kind of a number one option. Number two, we'll wait until the next morning.
Yeah. Well, usually my number two, it's like, it's a morning thing, and then after that it's done.
Good, right? Right. And we camp where there's somewhere else we can go, so we just make use of that during the day, so that if we're out for a full week, I never have to empty the cassette.
Yeah.
It's always in the middle of the night that I have to do the other one. So number one, number two.
And I'm the one who stops drinking at 6.
Yeah, me too.
With the teardrop, I did that.
Because I don't really want to walk to the restrooms in the dark.
No, me either.
So basically, how long did that take you, Ad? For the most part, it's just kind of some wood platforms, kind of that you did.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. We took all the was it? I don't know if it was. I guess it was very thin plywood we took out of there. We took all that stuff out, and then cut a 1/2-inch thick plywood platforms. It was about 30 inches wide, and
they're 30 by 75 or
75.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was pretty straightforward. That's pretty straightforward little process. What was a little tedious was when you take the old platforms up on some of those little square cubbies up kind of near the door or the countertop. They aren't flush. The top of those cubbies isn't flush with the top of the area that covers the water tank, for example. And so you had to kind of shim that platform up a little bit in a few places to get that so everything's kind of sitting down and the weight is being distributed evenly.
You didn't want to sleep at an angle.
Yeah, and it wasn't even so much that, it was that
there was like a little wooden lip around there.
A little wooden lip on the top of the little cubbies, and we didn't want that to break off.
Yeah.
And so we had to shim around that to just square it up. But that would be very obvious to you if you endeavored to begin this project. You'd see real quickly, we got to shim this up just a little bit, kind of even it all out, and it was pretty straightforward. But I think the whole process, honestly,
it was 2 days.
About 2 days, and a good chunk of that was on one of the photos, Daryl, where I think you could see the plastic storage bins we have now under the bed. On the right-hand side of that photo, you'll see a little dowel rod leg that comes down, and that provides some extra support out at the edge of that bed. And I put that on some cabinet hinges. I found a couple of cabinet hinges in an old box in the garage. I don't know where I had them from, but I attached those to the hinges, and so those things now swing up and out of the way when we're traveling and want to store things in that little walkway. Then they'll swing down at night to provide that extra support.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Huh.
Did you have to move anything, like any parts of the air conditioning or the venting, or that's still all
kind of
it's all still in place?
That's all still. The only thing we moved was we moved the thermostat. We moved the thermostat, ended up underneath the bed, and the first time we were out in some pretty cold weather, and that furnace kicked on. I think we had it set for like 55 at night. It'll come on at 55. But it came on at 55, but it took a while for that heat to find that thermostat. And by the time it did, it was about 155.
Yeah, that furnace is hot.
That furnace, it works.
Yeah, it works good. On that same trip, we turned that thing down from 55 to 50 to 47, I think to 43. So we didn't bake ourselves out when it tripped on, but so we moved that out into the hallway a little bit, and we think we hope that'll solve our problem.
Interesting.
Did you guys need to use any special tools or equipment that you had to buy in order to do this conversion?
Don't think so. We had a pair of sawhorses. We put the plywood sheets up there. I wasn't. I just used a handheld circular saw to cut it, and Denise helped me.
Just the assistant.
Denise helped me, hold it so it wouldn't, sag.
You're the measurer twice person.
We weren't too focused on a razor straight cut. If we had a little wobble, that's going to be fine because it's all going to be under the mattress anyway.
Yeah.
What kind of mattress did you put on those twins?
So I got online after when he did all the math and figured out, okay, here are the dimensions. We talked about how much space we wanted in between. I got on Amazon and I found 6-inch upholstery foam.
Okay.
And then I made custom fitted sheets for them because they're a weird size.
Okay.
Turns out a cheap twin fitted sheet would have been okay. Live and learn. But anyway, so we slept on those. We tried them out in the driveway and I was like, those are kind of hard. So I found an inexpensive 1.5-inch memory foam king size topper for a mattress. And I think it was at Walmart. And we got it here and we cut it down to 2 pieces that fit. And that's made a huge difference. Okay. And it still fits underneath the hinge. So we have no problem, with the wall folding down.
Okay.
That's made them much better.
Okay. Well, our mattress is Daryl's sleeping on the queen size bed.
The permanent bed
with a twin topper on it.
Yeah.
Because the dogs sleep with him and we decided they don't need a topper.
No, they're fine. They're lucky.
Objection, Your Honor.
Hey, I'm kind of curious, just on the LXE, the layout of it. Does the water heater tank and just the regular water tank, does that live over on the bedside, or does that live over where the appliances are on the other side?
It's on the bedside.
It's on the bedside. So I'd imagine it's in the same location as kind of where ours is, and they just ran that plumbing to the other side. That's interesting.
That's probably right. Yeah.
Still lift up one of the twin beds to look underneath at the water tank.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm still thinking about maybe doing something on my classic, but I just have to move everything around. So I'd kind of like, how your LXE is set up is basically what I'd do, because I'd have to move the microwave over there. I would have to move the sink over there. I'm not sure about the furnace. I don't know if I have to move the furnace, that would be kind of bad.
That would be too much.
That would probably be too much, but I think I might be able to do some of the other things. But yeah, it's something I'm just got the idea in my head and I can't get it out, but
yeah, we didn't have to do anything significant like that. And I would have, I'm not so skilled. I think there's a gentleman on the page, Brian Hovander
Brian Hovander. Yeah.
Hovander. He could do that in half a day.
It's clear. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's pretty skilled. Even if I'd had confidence, I could kind of put it together. I'd worry I'd break something.
Yeah, I need a bunch of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff in order for me to tackle it. My brother-in-law might be willing to help me out though.
But it's
not like putting in landscape beds in the backyard or something, where you screw it up, you just cut another one and you put it in. I would have hated to do some real damage to the Aliner.
But it's real inspirational with you guys, is because you're not like experts at this. So it's really nice for people to be able to see that they don't have to be experts in order to do it.
Well, and especially for the LXE. I mean, if people have that LXE and if they have your, your same kinds of issues, and if they want twins, the LXE is a perfect model to do that modification. And even if you're kind of out there and you don't have an A-liner yet, but you're like, oh man, I'd like a twin, you could just get an LXE and just make that quick little mod, and you're all set. And you get a bathroom, you get a shower, and you get a toilet. Do you guys use the shower very often, or for most part?
We actually do use it. Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that work? Does that work pretty good?
I mean,
it's small. I mean, it's kind of,
you gotta stretch beforehand a little bit.
It's tight.
Shower curtain stuck to your wet self, but after we've done a hike and maybe it was an aggressive one and we're really hot and sweaty, it's pretty nice. We'll put up with the slight awkwardness of it because afterwards we feel great.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say this, FYI on the shower, though, if you neglect at night to turn the water pump off and bleed the pressure out of that line, and you're taking care of some business at 3 o'clock in the morning and your knee hits the cold water faucet,
it comes out.
You're going to wake up. And you're going to stay awake for a while.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, do you guys have any future modifications coming up? What other things do you want to do to your A-liner to improve it?
I don't know. Yeah, I did new curtains too, which doesn't affect the functionality so much.
Oh yeah,
really nice,
really, yeah.
But I'm not a fan of beige.
Yeah.
And so I wanted color, and I also wanted more light blocking. The darker it can stay in there in the morning, the little bit longer one of our dogs will stay in bed. And so I got the idea from other people who had done it. I used those curtains as patterns and also as a backing. So I have double fabric. I just stitched right onto it.
Oh, that's
that
great.
probably will insulate a little bit from the cold.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know how cold will be out there, but it really does help with the light. And it just, to me, it feels more cheerful when I walk in and I see my cute camper themed fabric in a nice color. And then I made pillowcases to coordinate and some little memory foam pillows to like hold my head up when I'm reading. And so it just feels cozy.
Yeah, it does look really cozy. We really love the look of it. It's really nice color. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Will we do anything else to it? I feel like it's kind of great the way it is.
Yeah, I don't think we'll do anything major. I've seen some really nice posts on A-liners out west, people that built sort of a cover that goes over the door, outside. We've got a clam like you do. Yeah. We've got kind of a push-up four-legged canopy also that we put over the
kitchen.
So I this is just kind of one of those reasonable minds can differ about some of this stuff. I saw a post last night, I think it was on your page, Daryl and Nicole. Somebody had put in a battery cutoff switch. So that, and I thought, well, I even had it in my cart in Amazon. I had it in my cart, and then I thought, I take the top off of that battery anyway, and I attach my trickle charger battery maintainer to it. I just take one of the leads off the battery posts. We keep the A-liner plugged in on the 110 volt outlet, really primarily we have a little you saw it in the photo with the little shelves. There's a little white like sonic anti-rodent device we stick in there, and that needs some AC power, so we do that. But
we live in pack rack country.
Oh, okay.
And we've heard they can do some massive damage. We have not experienced it, thankfully, and we're trying not to.
Okay.
Dogs help there. our Cassie is a nice little predator.
Yeah, she's got a couple.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
But no, I think honestly, Daryl, like you and Nicole, we're new to this game.
Yeah.
We've learned we've learned so much in 4 or 5 months where
I know.
I probably shouldn't say this to the universe, but now I feel kind of comfortable. Like I kind of know enough.
In the hang of it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so now we just kind of want to go and enjoy it. And I don't know if I want to tinker with that camper later or not, but right now we just want to kind of go out and have some fun.
If the blue light on the night lights affects you, that was one of the best things we did.
Yeah.
Is having that switch installed to turn off that blue night light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that post and that looks really slick.
We have some electrical tape now.
Yeah.
Very sophisticated duct tape.
Thing, but I'm very happy that Daryl spent, I think, $100 and some. And had a shop do that.
Yeah.
Switch.
It is unbelievably bright. We had to live with it when we picked it up for our first few nights. And we looked at each other and said, we know exactly what people are talking about. There's another one right over the
blue
toilet.
LED light.
Yeah.
There's another one over our toilet. And I told him I don't want that blocked off because it's just enough light.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to turn anything on and you can safely make it there and back.
Yeah.
But over our heads,
I like your idea. I think when we next time we take it down to the
take it down to the RV place to get some stuff worked on, just have them do that. It's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So I think our time, we have less than a minute left. We'd really like to thank you guys for coming on and talking to us about your fabulous little modification.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we ever go down to Colorado, maybe we'll see you guys.
Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah, we'll look forward to that. That'd be a great pleasure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
so
much.
Guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.